beer. I want to drink beer. Let's go live. Yeah, going live. Let's drink beer.
We did it.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard to do nowadays. Hey, beer nerds. It's Ryan and Brenda here with Beer by the Numbers. And we are live tonight at our usual time on Monday. This is becoming nice.
I like it.
I'm looking forward to this during the week, each week. It's really good.
It makes Mondays less crap.
Yeah, definitely does. Definitely does. Start off your week with some beer. Definitely going to be a better week, right?
I like an excuse to start off the week with some beer. Mela is also joining us for Monday Live Night.
Oh, yeah? She's stalking us in the windows?
Yep.
Good.
It's a creepy cat.
All right. Well, do you want to go first, as is tradition?
Well, I can't because you have the bottle opener.
Oh, okay. Wow. Here you go.
So, as is tradition, I will go first. Today, it's very wet because it was in the cooler going down the river all weekend, but I've got the Lagunitas Passion Grass.
Ooh.
It's an ale brewed with lemongrass and passion fruit, which are like my two favorite things. One of them is growing behind me. It's not a lemon, or it's not a passion fruit.
Not a passion fruit tree?
It is not a passion fruit tree. Is that what they grow on trees?
I
would assume they grow on trees.
Yeah, I would think so.
I can't open bottles today. That smells amazing.
Oh, really good.
I'm going to do a good pour. Look at my good pour.
Oh, yeah. Look at that thing. Hoo-wee.
Pretty.
You know, that's the thing about Lagunitas. They make some good brews.
Ta-da.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah, that thing looks nice.
Right away, it smells like Asian food.
Oh, yeah. Good. Well, you know, the lemongrass will get you that most of the way there.
Definitely a lot of passion fruit on the front, though. Like, more than I was expecting. Because a lot of passion fruit beers kind of go halvesies.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not a cheap ingredient to put in your beer, you know?
Whoa.
Hoppier
than anticipated.
Well, you know, Lagunitas, you know, it's not gonna be unhopped.
It's good.
Yeah, definitely getting that lemongrass and fruit up front on the nose. And definitely a little bit of that hop too. I get that on the nose as well. Oh yeah, definitely has a good base bitterness. You know, really tasty out of the bottle. And I'm assuming this was a summer seasonal, so it's probably a little late in the season for it. I bet you that was really tasty fresh or on tap.
Also a joint brew with Shorts Brewing out of Bel Air, Michigan.
Oh, cool.
And that little cutie's only a 4.6%.
Well, yeah. You know, it's definitely...
I've forgotten about those
I
little
know.
numbers.
Well, oh, come on. You've had some all summer. Well, I have today another one from Block 15, courtesy of Burning Beard. The Peach Punch India Pale Ale with peach and apricot. And this thing looks really tasty. Has some cool can art of this very battle-hardened peach.
Well punched?
Yeah, well punched indeed. Yeah, so it looks really good. And then, looks like it's got a second brewing logo on here from Great Nation Brewing. So I wonder if it was a collab effort.
Is today collab night?
It might be, yeah. Brewed and canned at Block 15 though. So it looks like they did it at Block 15's facility, which is kind of cool. Yeah, independent artisan beer. Oh, Jesus.
Is that another one?
This is another label on here. I'm going to try and get this on camera. Hold on. I'm not really set up for this. But yeah, look at this label right here. We have the independent artisan beer seal as opposed to the independent beer seal, as opposed to, you know, just calling yourself a craft brew. Okay. I'm going to have to look up this seal because I know absolutely nothing about it. So I'm going to have to take a look at it. But yeah, the Peach Punch from Block 15 and Great Nation Brewing.
You open the thing already?
All right.
Let's go here.
I'll open the can. I like to talk about beer too much. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get excited.
I think they just had a sale on like Monster Green tabs.
Maybe they did. You're right.
Maybe that's their thing.
Pouring out hazy, but a lovely golden color. Look at the amount of foam I'm getting on this thing from a can. That's nice.
You're gonna pour that all over the table.
Look at that.
Pretty.
This thing looks good.
For once, our beers are nearly the same color.
Right.
That never happens.
Yeah, definitely get that West Coast kind of piney hop New World hop profile on it, but at the same time, you know how you when you get a peach or an apricot or a really good fruit beer,
are there juicy fruits?
Before you dive into it, when you smell it, you can your mouth starts to water, like it knows what it's about to get. That's what I'm getting right now.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
And then just a really good hit of that peach flavor, and actually the bitterness is not super present. It's definitely a really juicy IPA for sure.
I feel like mine is hoppier than yours.
Yeah, it might be. Very well might be.
This confuses me. Yours is less hoppy and fruitier than mine, and I'm a little upset by this.
Well, I'm really excited to dig into this because this is like some great juice. And
so am I, but it's not mine.
And as I've said on some other streams, I love apricot and beer. So
yes.
So a peach and apricot beer.
That's all the best things.
Yeah, it's right up my alley.
That's all of the things.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is going down really cool.
So that is delicious.
Yeah, so yeah, they did make it together, and apparently they dry hopped with mostly Galaxy and Mosaic hops. So really tasty.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Really good stuff.
Well, at least we had one that I don't find wonderful, so I don't sound like too much of a happy camper.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to...
We can't be all positive all the time on this.
Oh, no, I can go get the Lagunitas, Leinenkugel's Oktoberfest, and we can break down that beer if you want.
I have avoided trying it.
Speaking
of your stunning review.
Speaking of Oktoberfest, it's right around the corner.
Woo!
And that's the video I've got coming out this week.
So we're going to Germany?
No. Sorry. I wish we were going to Germany. That sounds awesome. But
are we at least going to Bauhaus?
We could do that, or we could go to the largest Oktoberfest in America in La Crosse, Wisconsin this year. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, don't you want to go drink with the drunken Scotties?
No.
Yeah, come on.
All of my people live there. No.
Yeah, it's a good drunken Scotty.
No.
You know, there's nothing else to do there but drink and watch the Packers. So that's all they do.
Flip cars and harass squirrels.
Yeah, well, that comes with the beer festival territory.
Vomit openly in the street.
Yes. Yeah. Well. That'll...
So no.
From time to time.
And also...
Also no.
I don't know if I've mentioned it, but no.
But no. All right. Well, I'm gonna pull the chat up here. I'm not quite seeing my mic show up, so I'm hoping we actually have it.
Are we dead?
Hoping we actually have it working. Well, let me double check. Entertain the people. It was your birthday this week, and that was kind of cool.
It was. I'm now old. It was here. It was gone. It was great. Mm-hmm. There was beer.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It's true.
Yeah, let's see if the sound actually plays when I turn this on.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, it does. Woo! Okay, good. So we're good to go. All right, cool. Anyway.
Are you dribbling beer down yourself?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
I got too aggressive, overpoured my glass. It's a problem.
You're wasting beer.
Yes, I'm sorry. Great sin. Okay, so we could do some beer news if you want. Or do you have a beer topic you want to discuss?
Do I have a beer topic? He says, putting me on the spot on a Monday.
On a Monday, that's right.
I don't know if I have any new beer topics. I need to find a place.
No new beer news? What do you...
I mean, I don't know any beer news. I need to find a place to buy a beer shirt with my birthday money.
Oh, yeah. Very cool. Well, if anybody has any good shirt suggestions, you can let us know in the chat.
Currently sporting the Lift Bridge beer process that's actually Ryan's.
Right. That's right. Okay, well, I have a ton of beer news, as usual.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. This past...
Truly, I've never heard beer news.
I know, that's right. This past week... the founder of Boston Beer Company, so Sam Adams, Jim Koch, he's a rather outspoken CEO when it comes to being a beer company CEO. Okay. He was at some sort of fundraising dinner in New Jersey, probably politically oriented, and he was said he was very happy with the Trump tax cuts because they were really helping him as one of those kind of national brands, but not quite a big mega conglomerate.
He's in the
thing.
sweet spot?
Yeah, well, no, that's actually been traditionally a very bad spot because you're not quite craft enough to be considered craft for
but
hardcore
in this particular
beer people,
time.
and you're not quite big enough to be, throw your money around in Congress. So he was kind of caught in the middle. But you're right. In this particular bit of time, that's right where you wanted to be if you wanted a nice big tax cut. And regardless of what you think of these tax cuts, he has been pretty outspoken against the big brewers for a while now because they're his main competition.
Well,
especially
it would behoove him.
Right, that's right. So he got very excited about the plan at a dinner. And then, of course, naturally his company's based out of Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
So some, Democrat hawk had to call him out for, daring to praise a plan that clearly benefits him. So the mayor of, let me get this right, it's some Boston suburb, Somerville, Massachusetts, has vowed to never drink Sam Adams beer again because of this disgraceful display put on by Jim Koch. And honestly, love Jim Koch, hate Jim Koch, love Trump, hate Trump, man. Just, that's not a reason to stop drinking good beer. I actually think Sam Adams is decent beer, too.
Well, yeah, it's
decent. It's not like...
If I'm going for decent, sure.
Right, it's not like over the top good, but if you're in a pinch, actually their Oktoberfest is really awesome.
Okay.
So, that's one of their good ones.
As someone addicted to Oktoberfest beers,
mm-hmm.
I will.
Yeah, maybe I just need to do line up 6 of them, or just go to the bottle shop this fall. Just line up a half dozen.
I like this.
Half dozen Oktoberfest and just do a mega review.
I feel like this could be a very interesting tailgate event. Especially if I fix your made-at-home lederhosen.
Well, that's right. I gotta get those back out for the year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you gotta stop drinking too many at tailgate and busting through the lederhosen buckle, and
then
you can have them more often. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's Tube Dinos. He's from New Zealand, I think.
What?
Mm-hmm, that's right. Got the New Zealand beer tubers hanging out at work, apparently.
It happens.
I never figured that, Monday night here is Tuesday morning for them. So, we're going to Bali in a few months, so that'll be fun. We'll finally get to go to that part of the world.
I'll never know what day it is.
Yeah, we won't know what day it is.
I have no idea when we're leaving. I have no idea when we're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping someone at a hotel will tell me it is the day I get on my plane now, and direct me to the plane.
Right.
That's all I got.
Right. Let's see. Okay, this is a cool one for discussion. Oh, the link didn't load right, but I remember what it said. So,
well, it was almost a cool one for discussion.
Yeah. So there's this really cool. There was a cool thread on the beer subreddit that was talking all about how somebody ordered a beer at a bar. They were ordering a PBR at a bar, and the bartender told them the bartender told them that was a microbrew, and therefore they had to pay the microbrew price at the bar. And so, see, you're already giving a really skeptical look to this whole scenario because PBR is mass produced, but hipsters buy it enough that they can charge more for it.
I have questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it's on offer in the cattle tank outside the bar on fight night, it's not a microbrew.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what I was going to ask you. So, they used to, bars used to have kind of 3 tiers of beer pricing. They'd have your domestics, so your Bud Light, Miller, Coors, whatever's local around you and produced by a big brewer. And then they would have, your kind of imports. So Heineken, Guinness, those were the big ones back then. Of course, now you could almost call some Coronas and Modelos, but they usually call those domestics because they're right in that range anyway. And then you'd have your microbrews. So then it was basically anything else.
Right.
You know, and they would kind of separate and price them out accordingly, depending on which group they go in. Now, all the lines seem to be really blurry.
Right.
To me, anyway. So
because now you get what is a domestic? Because everything on this list was brewed within 4 miles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question, because like, you know, we or you have a one here in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area is Grain Belt Northeast, which is domestic, but is only really distributed in like 4 states.
Right. I was gonna say, you can't get it anywhere else.
Yeah.
But
so
it's on the domestic list, and it gets happy hour price.
Mm-hmm. And then you know, it's a lot cheaper to import a Heineken than it is to do a microbrew.
Right.
You know, compared to like a big IPA or something like that.
Well, and then you get your tiers of microbrew.
Mm-hmm.
Are you getting a Summit, or are you getting a Fair State barrel-aged crazy thing?
Right. Are you getting, you're getting something barrel-aged.
Because it's not like
triple dry hopped.
Right.
Or...
It's not like your tiered pricing is actually a tier anymore.
Right.
I honestly only use the tiers as like happy hour determinant.
Right. Yep.
Because you're not usually going to get a craft beer happy hour.
Right. Yeah.
Or it's going to be on like one thing. They have a third of a keg left.
Yeah, so that's kind of the weird kind of state we find ourselves in right now. You know, you've got
PBR gives me questions.
You've got breweries of all sizes trying to vie for taps at your local bar, and they used to have a really kind of easy to understand pricing model.
Right.
I think the industry has too many options now, and that it's kind of fundamentally broken now.
Oh no, too many options.
I know, too many options for the consumer.
What will we do?
What a terrible thing. But as far as I'm concerned, if someone comes in here and tells me PBR is a microbrew, I'm probably just going to get up and leave. I think that's what I would do.
That's a place I don't need to be.
Yeah, that's right.
If I'm drinking a PBR, there's already something going awry in my night.
Right.
I don't need a bartender charging me $7 for it.
Mm-hmm, that's right. Let's see. Robert asks, have we tried Momo from Great Notion Brewing yet? Nope, I don't think so.
I was going to ask if you misread your
I did.
novels.
It's in gold and negative space, so it's not the easiest thing to read. So yeah, I've got the Peach Punch, the collab between Block 15 and Great Notion. This is the first I've had anything Great Notion's done, and it's really, really solid.
I like that.
Yeah, this thing is pretty fruity and delicious.
I will trade you any hot minute.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, good.
I was gonna say, I have the Lagunitas Passion Grass, which is an ale with lemongrass and passion fruit, and is 2 things I like, and unfortunately the third is kind of ruining it for me.
All right. Robert,
a little stronger hop profile than I was expecting.
Right, Robert, you'll have to tell us what Momo is. I don't know. Is it IPA? Probably. You know, maybe. Who knows?
It's like a Japanese restaurant?
Yeah.
Is that what Momo is?
Maybe so.
Help me.
Dino says a few restaurants around him charge the same amount for whatever your beer you want. So,
Okay.
Craft or otherwise.
Proposal. Trip to New Zealand.
Trip to New Zealand is a great idea. I love it. We'll have to do that sometime. We can do
hit up Scott's Cheap Flights.
The question is, do we do the Lord of the Rings tour or not?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
I'm not even that big of a Lord of the Rings fan, but yes.
See, that's why I was asking you. You just want the landscape,
hiking
right?
and landscape porn.
Right. Yep. And William Fletcher's here as well. Cheers, man.
Hey. What up?
So let's see here. What else is going on in the world of beer news? Oh my goodness.
I'm sure there's something.
Okay. So this one is another one that needs a little bit of discussion. So there's this.
I am always good for discussion.
There's this brewery in
Did you want me to talk about something?
There's this brewery in San Francisco called Seven Stills.
Okay.
And they made a beer called In and Stout. Obviously a pun off the burger chain In-N-Out, very popular on the west coast of the United States. A very cult fast food chain. And so they sent a cease and desist letter to Seven Stills about the beer. And of course, they make it really fun. You know, they're like, hey, They set it over with a bunch of burgers and stuff like that. So it was.
But did they have a hear ye, dilly dilly man?
Well, that's what
that was awesome.
That's what I kind of want to tell you, because probably the most famous cease and desist letter happened. What was it, last year or 2 years ago?
Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, Super Bowl last year. One of the local breweries here in Minneapolis made a beer called Dilly Dilly, which is, for all you U.S. drinkers, you've seen the You've seen the Bud Light commercials. You know, they all say Dilly Dilly. It's a weird, stupid little catchphrase that kind of caught on online.
It's fun.
People really like it. It's a fun thing to yell. Not gonna lie, it's kind of fun.
Cat.
You yelled at our cat.
Yes, yeah. I'm going to go solve her crisis. You tell them about Modest.
Sure. So this local brewery here made a beer called Dilly Dilly, totally stealing the catchphrase from Bud Light. Even though Bud Light had been using this catchphrase for a while, they totally stole it anyway. Kind of thinking they could get away with it. Well, maybe not. So my question is, we've got these breweries making punny names with what are essentially other people's intellectual property that's already been established. And, there's not really much punishment for them, because a cease and desist letter is not the same as a lawsuit. It's not the same as having to pay somebody because you use their logo or their marketing or their branding.
Right.
As long as you stop, you're good to go. So I'm like, it seems to be me that there's like this kind of unholy alliance. Like, look, In and Stout, who gets a good press release out of this? In and Out gets a great press release about it, as long as they're kind of cool about it, you know? And Seven Stills in San Francisco gets to look really cool too.
Right.
Because they get their name out there a whole bunch. And then, same thing here with Modest,
Oh, they were everywhere.
Yeah, Modest got all sorts of national attention for stealing Bud Light's catchphrase.
Right.
And Bud Light they were super clever about it and sent like a medieval caller to read a cease and desist letter to them.
Yeah.
Which was pretty hilarious. So they got a good press release out of it too. So I'm kind of like, is this what we're seeing? Are we seeing companies like purposefully stealing intellectual property as a publicity stunt? Do you think that's what they're doing?
Yes.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
All new. There's no such thing as bad press.
Yeah. It really seems to me like people don't really intend to sell these beers long term. They make one beer to try to.
I'm sure everybody hopes that you can keep it, because nobody likes going through designing and marketing and launching this thing just to have to change it anyway. So I'm sure once in a while somebody's like, oh, well, maybe we can get away with it. But yeah, long term, you kind of hope that somebody above you notices you're stealing their thing.
Right, yeah.
And makes just enough of a stink about it to be fun.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of weird with Bud Light and Modest Brewing, because they're both in the same industry, but like In and Out and a brewery.
I guess I never thought about that.
Like that really seems more like, okay, we're trying to cross-pollinate here.
See, that somehow seems less offensive on the like intellectual property front, because they are different industries.
Oh, no doubt.
So it's not like last week we talked about who was it? The Keystone Stone Brewing.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Marketing thing, and Stone being like, get your own.
Right. Yeah.
But so that was very clearly like you're kind of piggybacking off. Cat is climbing going down.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of piggybacking off the success of one thing, whereas In and Out and In and Stout are not really competing in the same market anyway. So I feel like that's a little less controversial,
right?
Overall.
Yeah. Robert said he runs a beer podcast, and they covered that whole issue with the cease and desist thing. Robert, you'll have to put the name of the podcast in the chat so I can go check it out, of course. Pub Crawl Channel's here.
Hey!
I also think they're out of New Zealand. Something's telling me about that.
Something about the Happy Days is kind of giving me a distincly down under
Greg says their
vibe.
next beer should be Suds Mackenzie.
After
that old Bud Light campaign. That was a really cool campaign.
That was actually a good campaign.
That thing stole the show. It was great.
Right? If you see a small tiger leap into frame.
Oh, Hillbilly Wine is here.
Hey!
He's a good friend of the channel. He's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Dino says, yeah, sounds like a win-win to kind of just, have a brewery steal your intellectual property, and then you'd be kind of nice about it. So yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was kind of a little feel-good story, but something about it just feels a little sketchy to me. I don't know.
Can we just talk about how I am so confused about a barrel-aged Neapolitan beer in the first place?
Yeah, I know. Have you ever had a Neapolitan beer?
No.
Maybe we should try one.
No.
I think no.
I don't like Neapolitan anything.
Okay, well, they're just trying to combine chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry under one roof.
I understand what a Neapolitan is, but I don't know why I need it in a beer or how that.
Mm-hmm.
At least with most Neapolitan things, like you can choose whether to eat them together or separately.
Right.
It's a beer. I can't pick those apart. It's one homogenous thing, no matter what I have to say about it.
Hey, speaking of Budweiser and Bud Light, what
were we?
Well, they were in the last story.
I try not to be.
Well, okay. Well, basically now the beer brand Budweiser is more popular in China than it is in the U.S. now. So Budweiser always kind of marketed itself.
I love how that's always an announcement.
Yeah.
Something's bigger in China. China's bigger!
Well, I understand, but Budweiser was like the king of beers for like 50 years in this country.
Yes?
Just think about it.
Now they're the king of beers in another country?
I did a whole video on this.
Know.
1 out of every 4 beers sold was a Budweiser beer. One brand of beer was a quarter of the market. Complete and total domination. Like crazy amount of dominance. And now nobody here drinks it because they marketed themselves as like a premium domestic beer. But, then craft beer came along and was like, no, we're premium domestic beer.
Right.
Not you, Budweiser.
It's
and so
not you.
They totally destroyed most of the brand equity they have here. And, they kind of leapt into Bud Light too, which also, has about 15% of market share in the US, if you've ever thought of that. Which is kind of crazy, right?
Ugh.
Yeah, that's over 1 out of every 10 beers in this country drank is Bud Light. Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
good.
kind of crazy.
That is definitely not my average
But
intake.
you take this brand that was so dominant in America, it's dying a slow to moderate death here.
Right.
But now suddenly China has totally embraced this beer, even over other Chinese beers or other beers over there. They're really digging the Budweiser. Mm-hmm.
I just don't see why this is surprising. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, fair enough.
I just always love the pronouncement that something's big in China.
Right. Yep.
Everything's big in China. China's big.
Fair enough.
That's how it works.
Right. Robert said his podcast is called The Beer Interviews. I'll have to go check that out. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, please.
Yes, indeed. William said nothing good came out of New Zealand except maybe Tube Dinos and the Floor Sweepers Union. Tube Dino says Neapolitan beer sounds like a gimmick. It totally is. Definitely.
That entire thing is one big gimmick.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It is nothing but alcoholic gimmick.
Craig says a beer called Ambivalent. I love that name. That's a great name for a beer. I think we need that. Marty says hi, and why doesn't China drink blue? Is he referring to Labatt Blue, or is he referring to Bud Light? What do you think? Labatt Blue is gross.
I will even take one of those over the other.
Mm-hmm.
I will let you infer.
Right. Yeah. William says rice beers are shite, which is kind of true. I'm working on.
I don't know if I've ever had one.
Well,
Have I?
I mean, haven't you had? There's one brewery around here that does like a sticky rice beer.
Oh yeah. No, you're right.
But that's a quality rice beer.
I was like, that's delicious.
To be honest,
I don't even know if that is a rice beer or if it's just flavored with coconut and jasmine.
Here in the U.S., there's a lot of beers that use corn as an adjunct, but rice is also fairly common too. If you've ever had a Bud Light.
Right.
I'm not sure if Coors Light does rice at all. I'd have to go check.
Couldn't tell you all of the
But I know Bud Light
off the top
has
of my
rice
head.
for sure because they list it on their crappy ingredients list on their website, which apparently is one of the 4 ingredients that go into Bud Light, but not yeast.
But yeast doesn't.
You know,
magic.
They did clarify that later, that they didn't put yeast on the list because they filter all the yeast out before you drink it.
Oh, bull crap.
And then I'm like, oh, interesting. So you only have to put ingredients on that are in the final product, huh? And you only, well, they're not really required to disclose all their ingredients anyway. That video's coming up in a couple weeks. I have that on beer labeling requirements here in the U.S. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Because as with anything, there's controversy. Controversy. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Scandal and horror. Cat's eating my feet.
Dino's asked, what do we pay for a solid craft beer for about 450 mil or 15 ounces? So a pint.
Yeah.
For a solid craft beer here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. 3. So for a solid craft beer. All right, you going to go? Yep.
1, 2, 3.
$6.
Yes!
Yep. So $6 is about what you will pay for like a good tier craft beer inside the city, I would say.
Right.
Yep. In the city, you're looking at about $6 for a good tier craft beer. They'll usually have 1 or 2 at $5 if they're a little bit more of a cost conscious place. I've
done 12.
Yeah. Brenda did buy some fancy beer that traveled halfway across the country in a keg. No.
It was from here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, you've done $12 before, yeah. Mm-hmm.
From Bois du Nord.
Yeah, but no. Most of the time you're looking at about $6, maybe $7, depending on what kind of beer you want.
Whereas, when we were in Denver, I was lucky if I could get anything for under $7.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, we went to Denver, and yeah, for sure, they love their beer, and I'm sure they tax it a fair bit, and
a little bit.
Yeah, mm-hmm. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Only pay $3.45 for craft beer at the LCBO, Liquor Control Board of Ontario, right? Yeah, that's what he's saying. Pretty sure.
I'm glad you plugged that together.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Cat, stop eating the table.
Yeah, and Dino says, $6 seems pretty good because it's about 7 to 8 in US dollars. For what he's looking at. Yeah, and depending on the brewery, some are a little higher than others. You could be looking at $7. $8 is not a common price point, I don't think. No. I don't think anybody's looking at $8 beers unless you're getting something really specialty.
Ouch!
Is Cat biting your foot again? Yep. Oh, good.
This is going to be a very interesting live stream of Pain Face.
Yep.
Because her cat is a teenager now.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. Okay, so this one was super cool. Right here in St. Paul, Minnesota.
I love local beer news.
Yep, uh-huh. There was a...
Oh, wait, I bet you I know what it is.
Okay. Go for it.
Man in crisis, saved by beer.
That's exactly right. You got it. So, there was a guy out doing his local rounds on his beer delivery route. He had just dropped off a bunch of beer at a bar. He drives over an interstate bridge, and there he sees a guy having a total mental breakdown, about to jump from the bridge onto the interstate, gonna get hit by a car. Gonna be very bad day for this man. That's a bad way to go out.
Everybody else in the interstate.
That's a bad way to go out. So the beer delivery guy pulls over. He gets out of his truck. And he's like, hey, buddy, how about a 12-pack of beer if you don't jump off this bridge? And that guy climbed right down, took the beer, and I assume they got him some mental health help as well.
I would hope so, because the beer's only going to go so far.
Yeah, normally I do these life or death stories related to beer. A lot of times...
When have you have life or death stories related to beer.
Remember the dude who got locked in
That's
the
only
cooler?
beer story you've had involving either life or death.
Yeah, all right.
You make it sound like some cutting-edge journalism.
Okay. Hey, I do good beer journalism here. Bring the stories every Monday night.
And you're journalizing other people's journalism.
Yeah, I'm an aggregator.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So, but yeah, in this case, beer saved a life this week. That's pretty great.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I don't know. You got any comments about that? Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
None of which I should say aloud about people who cause traffic delays on that particular road.
So one thing I love to look at as well is bad beer journalism. And this week, Guinness opened up, or maybe it was last week, Guinness opened up their first brewery here in America in like 50 years.
Right.
They had one here during World War II as a backup in case things got shaky in Dublin,
That's brilliant.
Yeah, they had a Guinness brewery here in the U.S. in World War II in case things went south in Europe. But they closed that. They wanted to kind of rein everything in. But they reopened this big brewery in Maryland over on the East Coast. And they're not going to be making any of the actual Guinness Stout there. They're only going to be making their kind of American beer series. So kind of their blonde lagers, their wheat beers, things like that. But don't worry, they'll have plenty of Guinness on tap. I'm sure they'll have an extra cold? Yeah, an extra cold tap for you. Yeah, I'm sure they'll have all that there. But
you cannot even say the word Guinness in this house without me freaking out about either the toucan or the extra cold tap. One of the two. I need something here.
Right. So they opened their new brewery, and Forbes had this article on why Guinness chose Maryland as the spot for their new brewery. And they're like,
all right, Forbes.
Oh, and they basically just said, we love craft beer so much. The market provides so much inspiration for Guinness to move forward into the future and create some new and exciting recipes and put them out there in the marketplace. And so that's why we wanted to come to America and open our first brewery here in 50 years or so.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll notice in there that at no point did they really mention Maryland.
Right, I was so about Maryland.
Yeah, and I can tell you the real reason why they opened in Maryland.
I'm sure you're about to.
I covered this in a video about a year and a half ago. Was that basically Maryland was totally willing to change almost all of their beer and brewing laws to give Guinness special exceptions so that they could do everything really cheap. Oh yeah, is the cat really hurting you?
Ow! All right, cat has drawn blood.
Oh,
cat
she's drawn blood.
Going inside.
Yeah. Okay.
Cat got her distemper shot today and is very much temper.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Greg Lehman hits the nail on the head. Maryland probably gave them tax breaks. That's absolutely what they did, and they even designed the tax breaks in such a way that you had to brew a certain amount of beer that none of the craft brewers could actually brew, such that pretty much only Guinness really gets the tax break and nobody else does. So yeah, it was really kind of a sucky law change. And I have a video from about a year or so ago when they were still debating the law in their legislature about it. So it was, yeah, I mean, when it comes to bad beer journalism, it's basic details like that. This was actually a pretty well publicized fight in their legislature.
Right.
And they didn't even bother to mention that. They're just like, no, we were inspired by the American craft beer spirit. I'm like, whatever.
Oh, hey, why did you move your operational headquarters to Ireland?
Right. Yep.
Lovely scenery.
Right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Right. Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so.
Hey, speaking of U.S. craft beer,
that is my favorite.
We're now over 6,600 breweries here in the U.S. And The Brewers Association is expecting a record number of brewery openings this year and a record number of brewery closings this year.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. But like,
well, the bad ones gotta go.
Yeah, based on the data that are being filed with different state alcohol control boards, it's going to be another record year for brewery openings in this country. Which,
yay!
I've been saying for the last year that like I don't think we've hit peak craft beer yet. But there's a lot of competition out there.
Right.
And there's only so much shelf space for beer. So
I only have so much liver.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough go for anybody opening a new brewery, that's for sure.
I mean, it's always a tough go for anybody opening a new brewery, but it's not getting any easier by any means.
Right, and weren't we talking last week that there was a record number of beer loan application rejections?
I'm going to fix the cat again. Yes, we were talking last week about precisely that.
Yeah, so I had a cool article on last week's stream about how a lot of banks were beginning to reject craft beer loans that normally would have gotten approved in the past because, banks are really just requiring a lot more of a coherent business plan from the brewery. They interviewed in that article somebody who was talking about opening a brewery, but the bank didn't like their location, so they ended up dropping their loan kind of midway through the process. And yeah, it seems that we're starting to get a little bit more turnover in the industry for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Which ultimately is probably a good thing because, your quality breweries stay open and those that don't close,
As long as it's not an instant tank, nobody gets a fair shake sort of situation.
Right.
Go for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Be entrepreneurial.
Right. For sure.
Sometimes you fail.
Yeah. Greg says if someone will fund the trip, he'll visit all those breweries and let us know about his findings. Yeah, I know. We need some more sponsors. That'd be great.
Yeah, right. Say, who can we shout out today?
Okay.
In-N-Out.
Right. Yeah, I know. In-N-Out, please sponsor us. All right, last one. There's this cool guy.
How did we burn through all of your beer news already?
I don't know. I guess I didn't have quite as many this week as I did last week.
Either that or I haven't gone on a rant yet.
Ooh, you're right. You haven't really given us a quality Brenda rant yet. All right.
I'm happy today. I don't know.
There is a chef in Portland turning craft beer into vinegar.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. See,
can I put it on my chips?
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in.
That's right, yeah.
I'm in.
So, vinegar in French is vinaigre, or sour wine.
Right.
Yep, and so, but, you can do the same process to beer, basically.
With basically anything.
Yeah, you can really kind of sour anything to the point where you can get vinegar out of it.
See, if you open our cupboard right now, there are at least 4 different types of vinegar. And I just used up all the kombucha vinegar, so.
Right. Well, I was kind of like, you know what? I think some really, like an IPA vinegar on some fish and chips sounds really awesome. That's what I think. They beer batter fish around here in the Midwest.
Right.
So, why not add a little beer-based vinegar on top of that?
Well, I mean, that's what malt vinegar is, isn't
right.
it?
Yeah, essentially.
Essentially. Is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that IPA was my first choice. I guess I automatically went porter or stout.
Okay, yeah.
Because I like that malty, bready deliciousness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want my vinegar to be sour and piney.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know if I want it citrusy. No, maybe I do. No, that's a lie. I like infused citrusy vinegars. Yeah, I can work with that.
Okay. There you go.
And by work with, I mean order by the gallon?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Beer by the numbers, vinegar by the gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Check. This works.
There you go. We got another idea for a second YouTube series. Okay,
it's a very short series.
Yeah, that's right.
It's me drowning in vinegar.
That's right. Yeah. So the people are demanding a rant for you. So what do you want to rant about this week? What's on your mind?
Did I have a rant?
I don't know.
Okay. You can't just come up with these.
Okay.
Oh, but he can.
Oh, no. I have a top. I know how to get you started. Here, I got it. Okay.
Isn't this what you want in a future husband? He knows exactly how to get me going on a rant.
Yeah, that's right. So this week, the Minnesota State Fair starts.
Woo!
And our brewers...
Our state fair is a great state fair. Don't miss it. Don't even be late. Our demos, exhibits, and 4-H fun are the best you'll find in our state.
Very good. Thank you for the little theme song. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That's right. But the state fair starts here this week, which is kind of a big deal in the Midwest. I know the coasts don't really pay much mind to their own state fairs, but here in the Midwest, it's a big deal, and our brewers kind of go all out for it. So,
yes.
So, Brenda, tell me, we have a great craft beer selection at the state fair, but they brew special beers just for the state fair.
Yes.
So, what are you looking forward to trying? What did you have last year too? Maybe you want to start there. I don't know.
Ryan doesn't know this, but today when I was supposed to be working and taking a 5-minute doing absolutely nothing that looked like work break, I actually started my state fair list.
Yep.
So first on the list is the 2 to mango, 3 to tango.
Oh.
Mango sour, aged for a year in some special barrel.
Oh.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Every year I pick an absolutely ridiculous beer.
Yep.
And the Minnesota State Fair is known for its absolutely ridiculous beers. They're almost always at Giggles. Giggles Campfire Grill, home of the walleye fingers.
Sponsor us.
Sponsor us! We almost had our wedding there. You didn't know that. So always at Giggles. So last year we had, I think I posted a couple of these to the Beer by the Numbers Instagram last year when I was fairing.
Right.
We had the dill pickle beer.
Oh, yes.
Which really did taste like dill pickles and was topped with a dill pickle Havarti skewer.
Oh, yes.
Delicious. There was the maple bacon brown.
Oh, that was very good.
Topped with slice of candied bacon. The s'mores beer.
Oh, yes. S'mores
which was
beer.
A porter.
Yep.
With a graham cracker crust chocolate sauce rim.
Yep.
And a toasted marshmallow.
Floating in the beer.
The beer.
That's right.
So this year, my ridiculous beer is the Ufta beer.
Ufta.
And if you're not a fan of Minnesota cultures, we are the Norwegianist of them all, and routinely say things like op and Ufta. So the Ufta beer is, I think, a lingonberry pale ale with lefse and is topped with a lefse crisp. Oof. It's got a whole bunch of things going on.
You can't get much more Scandinavian than that.
No.
Yeah,
no.
You would need to come up with some weird IKEA furniture name to get much more Scandinavian than that.
So my choice that I have claimed that Ryan does not get to order is the Ufta beer.
Right.
There's the Spumoni Tsunami, which is based on, obviously, Italian Spumoni.
Yep.
What else is on my list? The margarita style kettle sour.
Ooh, yum.
Almost all of mine are sours. There's the Kirby Pucker at Ballpark Cafe. Shocking that would be at a baseball themed.
Yep, reference to the great baseball player Kirby Puckett.
What else is on my list? So many things. I was short on the foods this year.
Yeah, you're not really naming any crazy deep triple fried.
We usually have a lot of things on a stick
yep.
on the new foods introduction, and this year we had like Nordic waffles that sounded smoked soft serve ice cream though.
Oh yes.
That one is on my list. But yeah, other than the Ufta beer, there weren't a lot of super crazy ones this year. They're bringing back old favorites like the dill pickle, the maple bacon, and the mini donuts beer.
Oh yes, mini donut beer.
Famous.
Yeah.
Find it at Coasters.
Right.
But otherwise, not too much.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be a good time though.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Every year, if you're in Minnesota, go to the fair.
And what I really like about the state fair, not only is it a cool get together, brings a lot of people from around the state and the region as a whole too,
state.
Together, but it really provides an opportunity for brewers and other, not just brewers, but restaurants and other places to really get creative and
Right.
really kind of showcase what they can do.
Well, and at this point, it's a challenge to see what crazy state fair thing can you come up with.
Right, yeah,
what
absolutely.
giveaway can you do? I mean, we have universities who are now famous for giving away tote bags.
Right.
For some reason, we are all obsessed with this tote bag. So last year, they even had a collectible numeric edition. So every day you were at the fair, it was a different tote bag with a different saying.
Right, yeah.
And I was actually upset because I missed the one I really wanted.
Right, yeah.
But it's like, this is the sort of thing we get into that, like, you really gotta go for it if you're gonna stand out at the state fair.
Mm-hmm.
And as a kind of jaded, diehard state fair goer, I've worked at the fair for I don't know how many years. And I've been there as a participant for even more. We don't do the standard go see the pigs, go see the cows, ride on the roller coasters. I mean, we have a Midway, but I don't know if I've ever been on it.
Right.
I've been busy. So it takes a lot to hold our attention. Like, there is a set list of things. Land of 10,000 Beers, Minnesota Craft Brewers Guild. If you release your beer talks sometime soon, I can start planning.
Right.
But there's actually a special feature in our ag building that is super good. They have a beer tasting flight, and they have 5 different flights to choose from, and kind of a tour to Minnesota beer.
Right.
And they have guild talks and panel discussions every day.
Yes.
Which are amazing.
Yeah, those are really cool.
Killer topics. And of course, it's right next to we're in Minnesota, so apples are a thing.
Yep.
We're right next to the U of M, who loves to create new apples. First Kiss samples should be there. It's like Honeycrisp, but earlier and better.
All right.
We took our thing we made, and we made it better! But so it's cool because the Craft Brewers Guild is right next to the Minnesota apple growers and the honey people, and it's in next to the crop art and the flower show.
Right. It's really, craft beer has really just integrated right in with the rest of, you know, the things that really kind of make the upper Midwest great.
Right.
You know, those things that we try to showcase. Craft beer is one of them.
Right.
And that's really cool.
And it's cool because you literally walk past the Christmas tree competition to get to the craft beer flights.
Right, yeah.
And you're like, this feels very northern.
Yeah, yes. Very northern indeed. Yep.
We have a very distinct sort of state pride, mostly centered around the fact that we can survive our own winters.
Right. Yeah, maybe we'll have to do put together put together some clips from the fair and all the beer that's going on there. Maybe
most of them will be Brenda sprinting headlong through a crowd.
Oh, sure.
Full of strollers.
Yeah,
because we don't walk anywhere.
No, yeah. Dion says hello from New Zealand. Hi, how you doing? Drunken One's here.
Hey,
oh boy,
Drunken One.
Party is starting now.
Woo!
Party Source Reviews is also here. Great stuff. Oh, look at Party Source. Even quoted your state fair song there.
Yeah.
Look at you, the 4-H song. Is it the same in every state?
No.
No?
But we don't talk about them on the beer podcast.
Oh.
That was an unnamed, unmentionable song from some location.
Got it. Yeah.
Saw nothing.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's right. Drunken One apparently says there's a hangout Wednesday, so I guess we'll have to maybe I'll have to get in on that. You might be a little bit busy, but I might get on that. Let's see.
Whoops.
Let's see, what is that? A Really King run into the tap room at Lazy Magnolia in Mississippi. Interested in some sample. Well, I'm always interested in samples, but I've never heard of that brewery. I don't know how the craft beer scene is in Mississippi, but it might be worth checking out for sure. I've never been to Mississippi.
No.
Only went to Louisiana once.
I was there.
Yeah.
I think I convinced them to go. There were beignets.
Yeah, there were beignets.
Ta-da!
Yeah, that's a pretty solid reason to go, isn't it?
If you've ever wanted to get a person to a state, just mention their undeniably delicious food.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
the time we found the Denver Biscuit Co. definitely sponsor us.
Right, that's right. That's right. Well, to all you companies out there, if you happen to watch, we're looking for sponsors.
And food.
And food.
And beer.
And beer. Yeah, all of the above. Let's do it. All right, you got anything else for the night? Or you got your solid rant in, so there you go.
That was a sad little rant. It was a happy rant.
A happy rant?
A happy rant. I've never had one of those
Happy
before.
rants are good.
That's just how I speak.
All right, ready to sign off? Do we need to go get another one?
I'm very nearly beerless.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us tonight, Beer Nerds. We'll be back next week, next Monday, again.
I will be sleep deprived.
Yeah, she may or may not be here, depending on how much sleep she's gotten over the last week.
Well, she'll be here, just maybe not in this dimension.
Right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but we're gonna hop off, maybe go get another beer. So thank you all for coming tonight. Cheers.
Cheers.